Jesse Zagorsky.
Dan, let's do this.
Hello, community. My name is Dan Rochon, and today I'm joined with Jesse. And Jesse is a friend of mine from San Diego. I'll tell you a little bit about him. Hey.
I just wanted to tell people before you tell them about me, don't even tell them about me. Just tell them we're going to talk about two things. We're going to talk about the only two reasons why clients won't work with them. Now you can tell them about me.
All right. And that's what we're going to, the only two reasons why somebody will not work with you. Jesse's been in real estate world for quite some times. And you know what? He's a coach, he's a speaker, he's a trainer. But really what you need to know about Jesse before we dive into this is he's a mama's boy. That's what you need to know. That's what you need to know about Jesse.
I love that that's all that stuck with you, but it's true.
I knew $1 million GCI, 16 years, indie brokerage. I know all that stuff, but mama's boy, that's what the viewers want to hear about.
I've worked with my mom for 16 years, man. I am grateful. I am blessed and grateful. Have you ever worked with a family member?
My wife.
Your wife, okay.
Yeah.
That is an interesting dynamic, I have a feeling.
Let's save that for a different interview, could we please?
Dude, I don't know your wife. I'm sure she's amazing because you're amazing. All I know, though, is working with your significant other, that's got to be interesting because my wife is a therapist. We do very different things, okay? That's a whole separate conversation, too, and I'm very grateful. But my mother has been the best business partner I've ever had. And some people's mothers are not supportive, some are. My mother taught me a ton. Amazing partner. I'm just grateful.
All right, so the only two reasons why someone's not going to hire you. Tell us, hit us up.
I told you before we started the broadcast, I could present to you, but I want to discuss it because you're a trainer also. I've been an agent, I've run a team, I work with buyers and sellers, I've been a recruiter, but you have your own viewpoint because you're a trainer too, and I respect everything you teach, and you're a fantastic trainer. So I want to see if you agree with me because I've challenged trainers for the years to come up with a reason that is not one of these two. Okay. I believe there's only two reasons why a buyer or seller would not do business with you. Number one, they don't see the value.
Okay.
So if anyone's watching at home, write this down. They don't see the value. And we'll unpack both these. And number two, they feel threatened. And I don't mean physically threatened. I don't mean like you're a big, you are a little bit of you can be a scary dude if I mention a dark alley, right? You got the beard and all that going on. But you're not really scary. I mean, threatened and there's a sense of obligation or pressure to do something that you don't know if it's if you want to do it. I'll tell a quick story on threatened and then you can tell me if you agree or not.
Okay.
Have you ever gone out to buy a specific article of clothing?
Once upon a time, yes.
Okay, like a color shirt, a pair of pants,
sure.
Okay, a shirt. Okay, so let's say you're going to the store to buy a black shirt. You have an event, you have no black shirts for some reason, you only have white shirts. You want to go buy a black shirt. You get in your car, pre-COVID, you go drive down to the store, drive. You get to the front door. You get out of your car, you walk up to the store, knowing that you are there to go buy a black shirt. Now I want to see if you're like most people. Or maybe you're not. We'll figure it out. But either way, we'll see if you're weird or normal. You walk up to the front of the counter. You walk in. The person there says, "Hi, can I help you?" And your response is,
"No, I'm good."
You're like most people.
I want a black shirt, damn it.
Nope. Very small. And so people watching this, a few people out there would be like, I would say I want a black shirt. And I would challenge them to be like, you probably wouldn't. Because I'm a super friendly dude. You're a friendly dude. But when you're in that situation, your default response is to be like, no. And that's what I mean by you feel threatened. It's a default answer that's the back of your brain. Have you talked about this on these episodes yet? The medulla oblongata, right? This is the oldest part of your brain from when we used to be animals. It's trying to keep you safe. It's trying to tell you, are people attacking you on a physical harm, even though there's nothing in the world that's doing that. So in that moment, your brain goes, danger, danger. They're trying to kill me. No, they're just trying to help you find a black shirt, bro.
The instantaneous response.
Yep. Feel threatened. Or even in a sales sense, if you're in a listing appointment, if you're sitting with a seller, it's not necessarily a default no, but they're worried you're going to trick them into selling their house for too little money. They're worried you're going to, on the phone, convince them to do something to sell their house before they're ready. Who knows what it is in their mind? That's the threat part. So value. So come up with it. Here's the challenge. Come up with an objection for a buyer or a seller that doesn't fall into one of those two categories.
I don't want to sell.
I don't want to sell. Okay. So if they don't want to sell, first of all, that might be a condition, not an objection, right? Because maybe if they don't want to sell, there's something going on. We'd have to dig in there. But let's just say they're saying they don't want to sell and it's an objection. I would say they either are not seeing the value in selling. Probably what's going on. That's my guess, right? Like it still to me falls into that category.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
What's another? You got another objection that wouldn't fall into those? Like this is how my brain sees the world.
All right. So an objection that would not fall into one of those two. So if rather than categorizing them within those two frameworks, let me go through objections.
Okay.
Okay. And I could probably just like you take these objections and put them into those frameworks, right?
Let's do it.
And so if you're sitting there, you're looking at objections, it could be, I have somebody else I have a relationship with. It could be commission. I don't want to pay the commission. And again, that's going to be perceived value. It could be that maybe I don't see the I know it's going to be the value, right? But maybe I don't see the value in the services that you provide. So I would agree with you, actually, Jesse. I would say that every single thing that you're going to be, the only thing that I would say that may not go in there would be the fact that you have an unmotivated or an unqualified.
Right.
Okay. So it could be somebody unqualified where, again, it's condition. I get that. Right. And so it's more of a temporary type holding pattern than an objection of why I would not hire you.
Yep. So for people watching, the reason I'm setting this up is I'm assuming people in your community are all about predictable monthly income, right? Like that's
absolutely.
That's the whole idea. The whole idea of your group. That's why I love your group.
Yeah.
So if they can learn to do more in less time, right? Instead of going on 10 listing appointments to get 8 listings, you go on 5 listing appointments and get, I guess you can't get 8 listings.
I was going to say, we're getting, hey man, I love it.
I don't know.
I love it.
Okay. So you go on 10 listing appointments to get 5 listings, or you go on 5 listing appointments to get 5 listings, right? Yeah. If you start to view the world in this framework, so the step 1 at the top is it an objection or a condition?
Yeah.
If they just don't want to sell because they don't need to sell and they can't sell, those are different than like, I want to think about it. I want to interview other agents. Like they really want to sell, but they're not sure if they want to hire you, right? You want to segment it down. And in the world of actual, like we know they want to sell and then we know they can buy or sell. They have the financial ability to sell. Now we're down to the, how do you help them get out of their own way if it's truly in their best interest? And I think this is why I like to train agents this way. If you're not really good at objections and you don't role play and whatever, you're like, I'm just not going to practice. I'm busy. Okay, that's fine. You and I can try to beat people's head into the wall all day long and tell them to role play. Then maybe they will, maybe they won't. But if you can start to see when someone says something to you, okay, do they not see the value or do they feel threatened? If you can just break it down that simply, you can then very easily start to illustrate value or take away threat. And often it's both. Like your brain's not linear. I'll do another example with you. Ready? Have you bought anything big lately, Dan? Last couple of years, buy anything big last couple of years?
Yes, I did.
What'd you buy?
I built my mama house.
Whoa! Talk about mama's boy. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Give me a hard time. All right, so Dan and Jesse are both mama's boy. That's what we established in the show. Write that down. Get a pen. Write this down. All right, so you built your mama house. In the journey of building your mama house, because I've built a house, I probably know what you went through. Okay. Did you ever question that decision at any point in time in that journey?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not for doing my mom a favor, but the actual build. Yeah. There could have been an easier way to do that for sure.
Yeah. How long was the whole construction process?
Oh, way too long. 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, it was a brutal nightmare.
Okay, this is a perfect situation. So over those 2 years, how many times did you think, I love my mom, I know I'm doing the right thing, but man, this is not the right way to go about it? Like more than once, right?
It was more along the lines of I didn't hire the right person to do this. That was more along the lines. Yeah.
Contractor issues?
Oh yeah, God yes, yeah.
Which is going to come up over and over again.
Sure.
Okay, so here's what I want to show about your brain. You could look at your brain like it's a record or like a computer, whatever analogy works better for you. But when you have a record, those of us, I'm 41, I still remember what records look like, right? You remember records?
I remember vinyl.
Okay, vinyl. If the vinyl was perfect, it would actually play, but most of the time it gets warped and it's bumpy. And so our brain's like these records where it goes along a little groove and suddenly it hit a bump. And so it's playing and it's saying like, construction's going well, it hits that spot where it goes, I'm kind of worried about this contractor here. And then all of a sudden you get past that and it keeps going forward, but then it hits a bump and it jumps back and it hits that same spot again. You go over the same stuff, the same anxieties. You don't just solve it once with a client. You don't just help take away the threat. I use language over and over again. I say things like, I'll literally say, look, there's no obligation. But if that feels too cheesy and not authentic these days, because I think sales language has gotten more authentic over the years. I was like, there's no pressure, there's no threat. I'll say things more like these days, like, look, I don't care when you buy. It doesn't matter to me, whether it's next week, next month, 10 years from now, right? I just want you to have the information you need so that whenever you are ready, right, you can make the best decision for your family. Does that sound helpful? Does that sound fair? Is that right? That's the
I love your style. I love your style, Jesse. Let me ask you a question. So when we're looking at this, so one of my philosophies is that when I'm teaching, I'm certainly teaching objection handlers. Yet I have a firm belief that an objection is only the result typically of a misconversation prior. Okay, so when you're frameworking it, and I love the framework of the fear and the value, and when you're frameworking it based off of predicting the predictable fears that a buyer may have, for example, such as, I mean, almost every single client that approaches us has something that is an additional fear other than just buying that home. I'm getting job relocation. I'm getting married. I'm getting divorced. My wife just got pregnant. I just got pregnant. Whatever. That would be weird, right? Yeah, but right. But whatever it is, there's gonna be a significant life event. Many times, most times, downsizing, upsizing, a family home that I'm selling, whatever the case may be, which is going to be revolving around that fear. And so when you can recognize what the predictable fears are, you could somewhat address them before they come up, and then don't assume that you actually addressed it, because then it's digging deep into, well, tell me more about that. What's important to you about that? Tell me, how does that make you feel? Right? It's having that conversation up front to really get into I'll give you an example, and then I'll shut up and I want to listen to your thoughts.
No, but I like this. I'm agreeing with it. I'm nodding my head. I agree, man.
Yeah. And so if it's like a single gentleman that just got divorced and they say, I'm looking for a 2-bedroom condominium in this location. Well, that's great. You just, and they're qualified as well. Well, you just qualify them for motivation and means. Yet, if you continue on that dialogue and you find out they just got divorced, and then you find out that they not only just got divorced, but their daughter is going into, say, middle school, high school, and that you understand that they have that particular location because they want to stay connected with their daughter, when their daughter's going to go through a change in her life. Yep. And now you understand that the motivation isn't a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo. The motivation is, I want to be a good dad. Right. And so now it's getting into a deeper understanding of, what are you afraid of? Well, I'm afraid of being a failure as a father. Right. And that's a little bit better in my opinion, of an intake than a 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
Oh, dude, it's 1,000 times better. So you just hit on a couple things, which is, I used to go get my haircut. Not that I really care. You and I.
Yeah, I used to get my haircut.
That was not a personal take. Yes, right? All right. So I used to get my haircut from this woman who described herself as a therapist.
Okay.
Right? Combination of a therapist and therapist, because people are burning their problems. And it always stuck with me. And I really think that realtors, like good realtors, really are like, there's no like realty, there's like a therapist. Good realtors, what you just described, you're asking questions in a neutral way without judgment that allows someone to just open up. And that's when you get to the magic. So yeah, for objection handling, if you're in rapport and you get all that, you know what their true motivation is, 100%. Now you can speak to the value, because how can you illustrate value if you don't know what's important to them?
Yeah. And you mentioned about rapport, right? So you and I approach this very similarly with maybe a different context of language.
Yep.
Okay. And so my philosophy is to be in rapport, ask adept questions, actively listen.
Yep.
And the definition of rapport is a connectivity, because energetically we're all connected, or we have the opportunity to all be connected, rather, better said. And so a connectivity would be, if you can imagine like two people dancing, and one spouse or one partner's shoulder goes like that, and then at the same time the other partner's shoulder goes inward. It's that connectivity of that connection of just really being in the same. That's an example of rapport.
Yeah. Right.
And so you'd mentioned rapport. It's about taking to really get connected with the other person that you're speaking with or communicating with.
So on my very first date, Yeah, I think it was my first date. My very first date with my wife.
That wasn't a rapport, Jesse.
I know it's not, but I'm going to illustrate what you
Sorry.
I'm going to illustrate with something you said. Check it out. Body language, everything being in tune, sharing energy. My wife, who is a therapist, actually, in real life, that therapist, was sitting explaining to me. We were sitting in the bar. She said, look around the bar. I looked, and she's like, looking for the couples. I look for the couples, and you can watch people who are on a date in a bar, and you can watch where their drinks are. And if you watch two couples drink in unison, it means they're probably in rapport and having a good date. Their drinks are at the same level. If you watch a couple where one person has a full drink and one person has almost none, the date's probably going badly. And we sat there watching these people like it was like Animal Planet. It was so much fun. That's when I was like, okay, this one's awesome. So that was like date number one. That long before she was my wife, when she was just yes, that was the same thing. Works on every level, not just in sales. And you said something cool. I want to go back to. You said. You didn't say this language. I forget how you said it, but I've been taught we generate our own objections.
Oh, sure.
So how did you say that? You had a different way to phrase it. But do you remember what you said?
Well, let me just expand on it real quick. It's about if you have an objection, it's because you missed something up front. Because the objections that we have in real estate are all predictable. The same way as that person coming into that store, the salesperson, it's a predictable, can I help you? The no, I'm good is so if that person, and I don't have the experience, but if that person comes up with a different way to approach that, the salesperson, you probably have one. You got one?
I do, yeah, because I've trained on it. Do you want to hear the script?
Yeah.
So watch this same role play. You drive in your car, you get to the store, you know you want to buy a black shirt. You walk up to the front door, you come in, the front desk person, you're expecting them to say, can I help you? And you walk in and you go, hey, welcome to the store. Have you seen our sale discount rack right over here? Or would you like to see something from our new collection?
Sure. Got it. Yeah. So it's just an alternative close, and it's
I said sale discount in case you're thinking cheaper, a new collection in case you want new stuff. But I easily gave you a choice where it's very hard at that moment to say, I'm just looking, because I made
not only that, you gave me control.
Right.
Okay. And that's the same way as like when you're consulting a seller, like when I'm consulting a seller, I'm not going to tell them here's the price.
No.
I'm going to tell you, here is the options, of if here's what the competitors are doing, here's what they got for this home, here's what they got for this home, here's the range of what the market is telling us right now, and if we list it at this price, it's going to most likely take a longer period of time. If we list it at this price, it's most likely going to take a shorter period of time. What are your thoughts? Right, and that's the approach of, I'm going to give you a choice, and either choice it works.
And now I don't want to get nitpicky, but if we're going deep, in case there's any advanced sales nerds watching this, do you, in real life, would you ever say, what are your thoughts? Does that phrase come out of your mouth or no?
Yes, it does for me.
Can I pull it apart? Why there might be better phrases?
Maybe feelings, but sure.
Yeah, because thinking is hard.
Yeah.
In a sales situation, I try to never ask anyone what they're thinking or their thoughts.
I think it's all contextual as well, though, right? Because by the time I get there, it's contextual, right? Because for me, I'm not there on a listing appointment. I'm not there to sell myself. Right. Because the process, and you talk about consistent, predictable, the process of a sale happens before I even hit the door.
Okay. So you're not worried about it. At that point, you're already in.
By that point, we're signing the paperwork, and I'm not there to sell myself. Again, it goes into the process. If you're getting objections, it's because you missed something in the process way over here.
So you and I are actually saying slightly different things. It's funny.
I think so.
I think a lot alike. So when you talk about missing something in the process, so here we agree. Duplicatable systems bring duplicatable results.
Oh, absolutely.
I agree on that. 100%. Yep. So in your system, you know what all the objections are going to be, and you handle them before they come up.
Yep.
Because it's part of your flow. Every time you did a listing presentation, you wrote down, here's where it went wrong, and you tweaked it, and then you added it, and then you address it, and you tweak it. And then at that point, by the time you're done with the presentation, the next logical step is just they're going to sign. There is nothing else for them to do.
Oh, yeah. Here's real quick. Here's my closing question.
Let's hear it.
How many ceiling fans do you have?
I love it.
That's my closing question. I'm not joking.
It's so good.
Okay, because on our documents, it's on the personal properties on page 2. I just open up the documents on page 2. I start going down to personal property. That is literally my closing question.
I love it. And do you look at them and you put your head down?
It depends. So when I'm having a conversation with them, I'm anchoring good feelings.
Uh-huh.
And so I'll do an anchor on that when I go through that.
If you have
right.
if you have no idea what that means, by the way, Dan, do you have another video to explain anchors? I guarantee there's somewhere there's a video, right?
Yes, there is, but I'll explain it real quick unless you want to, Jesse.
No, you do it. Go for it.
Okay, so an anchor would be something like, I'll give you an example. So with my daughter, Maggie, my daughter's 10 years old. She just turned 10 10 days ago. And with her, every time that I say I love you to her, not every time, but as often as possible, I squeeze her shoulder. Okay, so when I squeeze her shoulder, that is an anchor of the feeling of love. You know, you talk about thoughts and feelings, right? Well, guess what? With my daughter, it's all about feelings. It's all about love, right? Now, there's thoughts in there as well. There's rational guidance. In fact, I wish I could reach it. She brought down this mask today, and it's one of those plastic masks. And she said, Dad, Mama got this for us. I said, okay, that's great. Hey, look, honey, I'm going to make you wear that when you start dating on your first dates, and I'm going to make him wear that also, right? So, anyways, I got off track. Right?
How old's your daughter?
She's 10, right? So she's, I'm raising a 16-year-old or 14-year-old right now, right? It's a preview of coming attractions. Totally. But anyways, so the anchor is squeezing her shoulder, because when I squeeze her shoulder, I know that feeling goes through her body. So when I'm working with across from a listing table or a dining room table or kitchen table on a listing, and they are smiling because they're in a neutral position. So you talk about being threatened. They're not threatened until you bring them into the close. If you don't do it skillfully, that's where the threatened could come, right? You can see, if you see their energy change, then okay, you have an opportunity there. Yeah. But it's about watching you, and when you smile, I'm going to tap the table. Right. Okay, every single time, and it's not just a smile, but it's your energy, it's your positive energy. If we're in rapport, and I'm paying attention to you, and then when I sit there and I say, okay. So Jesse, so how many Salem fans do you have? And I'm pressing down the table right there, and I'm literally just start writing. So I guess I am looking down when I do that. Yeah,
you do 100%. That's what I was wondering, because you know that, like, do you play poker ever?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It ties into poker. There's times when you want a call and times when you don't. You look at them or you don't look at them. Same thing in listing appointment. When you ask that question, you're looking down because I'm just moving. I'm just going along. And it signals that, like, this is very normal. I'm just moving on. Yeah. And I've never heard that tap of the table. I love that. I was wondering how you're going to anchor in a physical listing. That's really cool.
Sure. Yeah.
I love it. All right. Interesting. Where do you want to go from here? Oh, I know where I want to go. I know where I want to go. Ready? I'm going back. So you're saying that you've missed something in the process. When I say that you generate your own objections, what I mean is you referenced energy earlier. So something about your energy, something about, like, the way you were, the client picked it up on an energetic level, and that's what caused that objection. Okay, so anyone watching this who's a brand new agent, raise your hand. We can't see you. We have no idea of knowing. Raise your hand.
You.
It's just going to wake them up. It's just like getting blood flow going, right? Raise your hand. So if you're a brand new agent, you're probably going to be asked at some point how long you've been doing this for. Almost guaranteed. Maybe not, depending on who you are, and I'll show you why. Those of you who are doing this for a long time, raise your hand and think about it. Dan, how long have you been in real estate for?
13 years.
Okay. Does anyone ask you how long you've been doing this in general?
No.
No, other than in a podcast. Like, so when did people stop?
Yes, you just did.
Right, but other than that,
I understand the question.
Right, it says, like, when did it stop? Like, at the beginning, did they ever ask you how long you've been doing this for?
It happened to me once.
Okay,
and it happened to me once in my career, and it was on my first listing appointment.
On your very first one.
Very first one.
And that was 13 years ago. So granted, you look younger. But, like, the second listing appointment, you didn't age that much. The third listing, you didn't age that much. What changed between the first, second, and third listings?
My confidence and it was just, on the first one, I knew, going back, when I look back on it, I said, I knew, and I avoided the question. I avoided the question 3 times. Okay. And then finally I'm like, how long? It seems like forever. That was my answer.
Isn't it amazing that you remember that so vividly, though?
Yeah, but the thing about it is even though I'm a confident creature, okay, like I have like my DNA is confidence,
right?
Yet, even for somebody that's super confident in a new situation, I had the vibes. I was kicking the vibes, because it was the only time it ever happened,
right?
That was completely from me creating that.
That's what I mean. You generate your own objections. So if anyone's watching, and do you have more people watching this that are new agents, experienced agents across the board? Who's watching?
Across the board.
All right. So for anyone who's new, you don't actually have to have a lot of experience. Like Dan's DNA is confidence. And if your DNA is not confident, you can still do this because you can create confidence through repetition.
Yeah.
Like sales is all mental. It's all up here. But yet, if it's all up there, you should be able to wave a magic wand and we'd all make millions of dollars. That's not how it works. So you have to practice skills and create repetition to build that confidence, unless you're Dan and you just wake up confident. You just woke up and were like, I know how to do this. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it. And you did good. Yeah. And those are the people that you look at in life. You're like, right? You're like, how's he do so? How's he lucky? It's not luck, right? It's confidence. It's a belief in yourself that you know what you're doing.
Yeah. I can give you a hack for that.
Hit me.
All right. I have an awareness that I'm a spiritual being and a human manifestation.
Tell me why.
And having that awareness allows for me to not worry about judgment. And because I know that the human condition is that we as a species go around the world thinking, what is Jesse thinking of me right now? Jesse is too busy to consider what he's thinking about Dan, because Jesse's having the thought, what is Dan thinking about me right now? All right, that's the human condition. When you can understand that that's the reality of the way that we act in our minds and our DNA and our brains, then you could sit there and you could bypass that, where you could say, you know what? I don't care what Jesse thinks about me, because he's too damn busy thinking about himself. He's never even going to think about me.
I love it.
And then when you can have that understanding, then you know that you're a spiritual creature. At the end of the day, who cares? We're all going to be dead. Okay, we're this spiritual thing within this human manifestation. So just freaking take a shot, because nobody cares. Dude. So live the best life that's within you.
Dude, I love it. I'm trying to see. I had this meme saved if I can find it fast enough. I've never shared a screen in StreamYard. Is it easy to share a screen?
I have no idea.
All right. Well, you talk first. I'm gonna see if I can find this, because it's what you're describing. This is the third time in a week that someone has given me this advice. It's like seriously, dude. I just learned something good. I appreciate that. I'm very coachable. Like, it's like I need to hear this message. The universe is telling this to me over and over again.
Boom, 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 boom.
This guy sent to me, if I can find it quickly.
Beating you over the head.
Yeah, let's see. Society, make no one happy. 2 people on a mule. You've seen this one?
I don't know.
Where is the?
Let me
I found it. All right.
Okay, you got it. All right.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me see if I can share screen.
Now I'm trying to put. Yeah, I'm intending to put you. No, it's not gonna let me. All right, go ahead. I was gonna see if I could just get you up front there.
Do you see my screen? Is it working?
Yeah. Add to stream. There we go.
Hey, It's working. All right. So I don't know if people can see that, because I have it kind of small. Let's see, make it bigger. Oh yeah, people can see. That's big enough people to see it on the side over here.
Sure.
I know what these are. Don't worry about this. I just Googled this thing. I was going quickly. All right. This thing right here. This is our society. Up here, 2 people on a donkey's back. Poor animal. Right here, he's walking. He's making his wife walk. How cruel. Down here, letting his wife ride the mule. How stupid. Over here, what idiots. They don't even know how to utilize the mule.
Sure. Yeah.
Isn't that? It's like that to me is the.
Oh no, we lost Jesse. Oh my goodness. Let's see. We'll give him a second to come back on here. So right now, Jesse's getting kicked in the head with a mule, apparently. And we totally just lost him. I think I'm still alive, though. And give me a thumbs up if you can still hear me. All right, let me do a recap of what we just heard Jesse say. What we heard Jesse say today, and I really appreciate that conversation. We heard Jesse share with us about the fact that there's only 2 reasons why somebody will not hire you. Number 1, it's fear. And number 2, it is value or lack of value. And if I had some more juggling balls right now, I would be throwing them up in the air. So Jesse, tell us more about that donkey.
And Dan, you're a true professional, because when you share a screen on StreamYard, you don't hit the red button that says leave studio. You hit the button that says stop screen share, which I had no idea how to do. So anyway,
we're learning.
You want to change the outlook so we look like longer and skinnier again?
Yeah, I got you.
The other way.
All right. Yep.
Sorry. There we go.
All
right, cool. That was too funny, dude. I'm glad you're a pro. Your show. I left your show. All right.
So was it something I said? I mean, come on.
No. I was loving what you're saying. So with the donkeys, like, what you just said, say the first part again. It's a human, you're a spiritual being having a human experience.
Manifestation. Yeah, a human experience. That will go. Yeah.
Okay.
I said really human manifestation is the word I use.
I love it.
Yeah.
Is that in your book, by the way?
It is. Yeah.
I love it. Okay.
Real Estate Evolution, the 10-step guide to C.P.I. Thanks, Jesse, for setting me up for that, by the way.
You're
yes,
welcome.
it is.
Yeah, I'm a pro also. No, but no, because you told me about the book, and like whenever I hear you say these things, I'm like, I hope that's in the book, because if those things were in the book, like I need to go back and look at it deeper, because that's amazing. Like I really, I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, how long is this broadcast? How long we go? Like 13 hours, 14 hours? What do you
let's go another 10 minutes. Whatever you got.
I'm
enjoying the conversation.
I'm having fun too. I'm just going to make sure I don't leave the studio again by accident. All right. So we've got let's go back to authentic listening. Can we talk about that for a minute?
Yeah.
Because you said
active listening.
Well, I call it authentic listening.
Fair enough.
I call it active, and they're two different things.
Okay.
And we can debate that on a separate show. We can come back, but they're very similar. Either way, listening is the most important thing. Listening is like the only thing that matters, right? If you are a good listener, you literally need no skills. So I've got 6 steps, but I only have 5 fingers on this hand. But I have 6 steps that I follow for listening, right? And I'm sure you have your own. I'm going to pull up the list really quickly to make sure I don't miss one. But I want to see how you and I are so similar. I want to see where we overlap and where we're different.
Yeah.
So I believe there's 6 really important ways to do listening. And one of them is, the first one is typically just honesty, right? Okay. Being in integrity in the conversation. Do you have that in your list somewhere?
No, I actually don't. I don't break the active listening. I teach how to active listening. How to active listen.
Okay.
I don't go through. I don't have a step-by-step for that one.
Oh, okay. So let me stall for a minute while I pull this up, because this will be good then. I'll give you 6 steps.
So while Jesse pulls up his 6 steps, for me, it's about being in rapport, asking adept questions, and then actively listening. And so for my definition of actively listening is to truly, so here's the thing. It goes back into scripts. Like, why do you want to know what you need to know to say? Well, the reason why you want to develop your scripts is because you never have to worry about what you need to say.
Right.
Okay. So Jesse, you can give me an objection right now, real estate objection, any objection.
You seem like a good guy. I'd list my house, but I want to think about it first.
Sure. So I seem like a good guy and you want to think about it. Is that right, Jesse?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Is there anything besides thinking about it that would cause you to not hire me today?
No.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you, Jesse. So what specifically is it that you're intending to think about, right? So it's just a repeat, affirm, isolate, handle the objection, move on.
We were trained by the same people. We must have been.
Well, it's right. And so here's the thing. But the reality of it is, what I was demonstrating there wasn't the script. What I was demonstrating was my ability to listen to Jesse. And if you notice, I even repeated his questions. I actually don't think I affirmed it, right? So I should, yeah, okay. So it would be repeat his words, and then you know what? You're smart for thinking that. You're smart for making sure. In this case, it would be, well, you're smart for making certain that you're making the right choice. I completely understand that.
Yep.
Isolate. Is there anything else that would cause you to not move forward? And then handle, right?
And if you want to drop in some NLP in there, you can even put one of those embedded commands. Right? I just want to make sure you feel comfortable when you hire me to sell your house. So absolutely think about it. Makes sense. Right? You can drop that in there too. We do all sorts of fun stuff. But I found my
and the hire me and the feel comfortable were the embedded commands. If you missed what Jesse was saying about that.
Totally. Sorry, we're just dropping all sorts of stuff. Old school, like that's like, I was never even in Mike Ferry, but that's like old school, like nothing's changed. And he got that from someone who got that from someone. It's probably from the Stone Age. The cavemen were pounding rocks and they were putting embedded commands and like making a wheel. They're like, I don't even know what that is. All right.
Chisel rock.
Here's the 6 steps for active listening. I found my notes. So number 1 is honesty. That one makes sense. And I'm just going to list off all 6 and I'll give you a short explanation of each one. We can kind of talk through them. Number 2, remain neutral. Number 3, no agenda. Or right, number 4, stay in context, meaning like be curious. Number 5 is asking questions versus like making a statement. Number 6, this is the big one. This is the hardest one for most people. Listen, don't relate. And I'll explain that one. The rest of them are fairly obvious. We can unpack them. But like listen, don't relate. So if I were to say to you, I'm showing you my house, you're walking around, we're looking around, and there's some pictures on the wall. And you see on the walls a ski trip. It's me and my family on the top of a mountain somewhere, right? And you're trying to get in rapport with me. Just pretend, what would not you personally, because I know you already know this, but what would you do as an agent typically when you see that picture on the wall of the mountains?
Oh, man, I went skiing in Avail last year. It was awesome. So you ski?
Right. You feel like most people, I don't know whether you do that or not. That was the good example of what most people do. You feel like referencing the fact that you skied actually creates rapport with you. It doesn't. It does nothing. It changes the energy off of the person you're talking to onto yourself, which is not what you want. You want it focused on them through most of the sales situation. And so what's really building the rapport is the energy of you liking something that they like. Now watch, let's do it the opposite way. We're in your house. You got a picture on the wall, right? So I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, Dan, whoa, what mountain was that? Where are you guys? What mountain?
That's Rocky Mountain.
That's incredible. Are you a big skier?
Oh, I am. Yeah. We go every year.
Are you like a double black diamond, sort of like super vertical, or more just like bunny subs? What's your?
I fall down the diamonds.
Okay.
Hard.
So what have I not said in the last 10
Anything
seconds?
about you? It's all about me.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. And anyone who's single, this works when you're dating. Those of you who are married, this works for a significant other. People just like talking about themselves, and that's not wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. I like talking about myself too. So does Dan. Yeah. Everyone does. It's just normal. All right. So that's listen, don't relate. I'll say the other 5. We'll pick maybe 1 or 2 if you want to talk about it. So honesty/integrity is number 1. Remaining neutral, no agenda, staying in context, and asking questions. Those are the other 5.
Let's do the because they're similar. Remaining neutral and no agenda.
Okay.
So I can see the similarity. They're a little bit overlapping the way I'm perceiving those. Talk about how they're the same and how they're different.
Okay. So we're talking about active listening or authentic listening. Doesn't matter. Whatever. But listening in the part of a conversation if you listen to Dan's training, which you should, right? Because he has good training. He's going to tell you you're going to go fact finding first. So you got to listen to do that. All right. So you're going to tell me that you got divorced. Ready? I'm going to give you I'm sitting in your house. You're going to be selling it. You gave this example earlier, and I'm going to ask you a question, and you're going to tell me you got divorced, and I'm going to give you the typical response that most agents would give you, right? All right, so you got a great house here. It's going to be, obviously it's going to be pretty easy to sell. I'm curious, what's causing you to want to sell?
I got divorced.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Okay, pause. Now, in a lot of people's situations, that might be true. It might be terrible. But let's just say you and your significant other had
I got divorced! Yes!
Okay, you had a terrible relation for years. You're still best of friends? You're going in separate ways?
I hope my wife's not going to watch it.
No, she's not. Your wife knows she loves you. So is my wife. We're using an example. But you don't know. If you don't remain neutral, you'll never know if it's like if they're happy or sad. Because when I said to you, oh man, I'm so sorry. If you were really thinking like this is the best thing that ever happened, you're not going to tell me anymore because you're going to get judged.
Yeah, there's a disconnect.
Yeah. So that's remaining neutral. And then no agenda is when I go into a listing situation, I got one goal and one goal only. What do you think my goal is?
Get hired.
Get hired. That's it. It's not about signing a listing contract. It's getting hired. But when I'm listening, I'm not thinking about getting hired.
No, that's an outcome.
You got to drop the agenda. You got like I'm truly focused on like wherever they take me. So if you want to write down, so I rip off a lot of stuff. You and I have been trained by a lot of great people. I can tell we have some overlapping stuff. This one I'm pretty sure I made up. Very rarely do I have an original thought. This one might be. I have an affirmation that I say over and over and over again for years. I don't say it much anymore, but like I condition my brain. I am a creative, solution-oriented, problem-solving machine. I am a creative, solution-oriented, problem-solving machine. It resonates with me. Most people think it's weird, whatever. But like to me, that's the no agenda. That's the going in there and just like, if 9 times out of 10 the answer is they should list with me, awesome. But if it's not, I'm okay with that. And I need to go fact-finding first, and that's what makes me an effective agent.
I think, Jesse, just to summarize that as well is what I heard you say is that you're committed to the outcome. You're not attached to the outcome.
And even deeper than that, I'm attached to the process.
Got it.
I'm detached to the outcome. You like that?
We're just going to keep one. And one more thing. I was interviewing this guy yesterday. He tells me, he says, yeah, I'm a 99D and a 99I. I said, yeah, really? I said, well, I'm a 99 and a half.
And you know what's funny? As sales trainers, we're going to tell people don't one up each other.
Really?
Like,
yeah.
You go back to rewatch this. This is totally two people being like, well, let me show you this. But it's coming from a place of like, anyone watching this, we just want you to sell more homes in less time. We want you to live amazing lives. That's all I care about. Like,
we're not one upping each other. We're having fun with each other. There's not.
It's kind of one upping, but it's funny. It's like we're doing it in a funny way. Like, I'm having fun with it too. This is so much fun. I would do this again. This is rad.
Jesse, thank you so much. So if I'm a real estate agent, so tell us about some of the things that you're up to. And I love the way that you think, and I love the way that you communicate and the way that you serve and help. And so certainly if I'm a real estate agent, I mean, I'm getting such value from this conversation and I want to be able to get more value from you. How do I get in touch with you? How do I find you online or wherever?
You can find me if they're watching this on Facebook. My name's at the bottom of the screen right there. That's how you spell it. It took me till I was like 12 years old to spell it, so don't feel bad if like it's Jesse Zagorsky, right? Just hit me up on Facebook, send me a friend request, send me a private message. That's the easiest way to find me. Instagram is also Jesse Zagorsky. I got super creative with that one.
Yeah, my Peloton name is Dan Rochon, and I'm riding to the Peloton. Everyone's got like this, really creative thing. I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Donuts after beer 76. You're like, I don't know what that means, but like, okay.
Yeah.
Right? So you're a Peloton guy, huh?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Well, I got that when quarantine happened because I needed some connection.
All right. So someday I have a spin bike in my garage that is not Peloton.
Hey.
And all my Peloton friends give me so much crap. They're like, dude, you can afford to go buy a Peloton. I'm like, I know, but I got a perfectly good spin bike that came from one of my clients. I sold a condo for a guy who's a semi-pro cyclist. He's like, you want this thing? I'm like, yeah, sure. Like,
yeah, I had to get talked into it. I will be candid with you. A really good friend of mine talked me into it, and I am so grateful that he did.
It's incredible. It is one of the coolest pieces of technology for connectivity and social engagement. So cool, dude. Anyway,
Jesse, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to find you and to speak with you. Find Jesse on Facebook. Send him a friend request, send him a message, and thank you so much. I love our conversation.
I'll be in the C.P.I community. I'll answer questions there. There you go.
There you go. Send him up. Do the little @ Jesse, and ask him any questions you want. Thanks, guys.
See you, man.
Give us a thumbs up by clicking the like button below. Don't forget to subscribe to